Okay, now we are going to look at the net change in cash and cash equivalents in detail so that we can have a full understanding, especially when we are answering questions in the examination. We'll know exactly how to undertake such. Cash and cash equivalents would appear under current assets on the balance sheet, indicating a positive debit balance, or under current liabilities if the account is in overdraft, indicating a credit balance on the books of the business. Okay, so the cash and cash equivalents, you can either find them under current assets if it is a positive bank balance, or you can find them under the current liabilities if it is a credit balance or an overdraft. Okay. Alright, we have got an example that we are given here. Okay, remember what I said, when you are doing the cash flow statement, we are given information from the financial statements for 2 years. So here for 2020 and 2021. Cash and cash equivalents, you can see that, okay, in 2020 is 33,200, and in 2021, the amount for cash and cash equivalents is 45,800. Okay, so the 45,800 is the balance at the end of the current financial year, or the closing balance. Okay, the 33,200 is the balance at from the previous year. At the end of the previous year is the opening balance for the current financial year. Okay, so then how do we calculate the net change? The difference between the opening balance and the closing balance is an increase of 12,600 from 33,200 to 45,800. Okay, so 12,600 is our net change in cash and cash equivalents. Okay, that one is straightforward. Let's look at the second example that is given when we are having an overdraft. Okay, all right, so remember what I said at the beginning. Sometimes we can have a debit balance for cash and cash equivalents, or sometimes we can have a credit balance for the bank. Okay, so whenever it's a credit balance, it is a bank overdraft. When it's bank is a debit balance, of course, it's just a positive bank amount. All right, so in this scenario, if you look at the cash and cash equivalents, the opening balance from 2020 is 3,000. 3,000 is simply indicating an amount for petty cash or cash float. Okay, so if you see that there's a small amount like that, it's most likely that there is a bank overdraft. So if you go under the current liabilities there, you see there's a bank overdraft of 27,200. Okay, so that is our opening balance. Okay, and then our closing balance, of course, it is still 45,800. Okay, in this scenario, the business had an overdraft of 27,200 at the end of the previous year, and 3,000 under cash and cash equivalents, which is petty cash or cash float. The financial year reflects a positive balance of 45,800. The calculation now of the net change in cash and cash equivalent will go like this. The opening balance, because of the amount for the petty cash and the cash float, you need to add that to the bank overdraft first, and then after that you calculate your net change. So we are going to say minus 27,200 plus 3,000, which will give us now minus 24,200 as our bank opening balance, or our cash and cash equivalents at the beginning. And then the cash and cash equivalents at the end, they are given at 45,000. Okay, so now if you say minus 24,200 minus 24,200 plus the 45,800, the net change is going to be a positive 70,000. Okay, here it can be a little bit tricky to understand. Okay, what is happening here? We are moving from an overdraft or a negative amount of 24,200. How much money would be actually needed to come up to 45,800? So you just add the two amounts. That is the reason why you find out that the net change is 70,000. Okay, this calculation may appear to be tricky when using an equation format. It is therefore useful to establish some ground rules of your own. Study the amounts carefully, okay, before you can actually attempt any activity. Okay, thank